I'm also in 1 second. Effie's calling me. Yes, Ezzy.
Wake up.
Huh?
Stand up.
Stand up.
Yeah.
Why? Do you want me to come?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming. All right. Sorry, Margaret. 1 second.
Oh.
You want to say hello? He said, "Hey,
Everyone is real.
this is Ezreal. Our chicken boy. Come round. You say hi."
Welcome to Pulling an All-Nighter podcast. I am Margaret and this is Exon.
I am Alice and this is Zariah.
Today is all about the end of term as we draw closer to the summer holidays, including sports day, year 1 phonics exams, GCSE and end of A-levels, finally polling day on the 4th of July. But we are starting with the top news, which is Euro 2024. We are now in the knockout phases, teams down to 16. I know how much you love football, Alice. Tell me about it.
I like football, but I love the Euros and the World Cup more. That's what gets more of my attention. So yes, we are currently in Euros at the moment. England are playing for England. I support the players in terms of I want them to do well. I think they are great players. Not sure if they're great together, but I think they do well for their respective clubs. Gareth Southgate, I'm always 50-50 on. I think he's a bit of a pick-me, and I think he plays favourites a bit too much for me. So I don't think he necessarily goes on the talent all the time. I think he like.
He's pick me and he's all about criticism.
So in terms of me feeling like he's a pick-me, I say that because sometimes I feel like he plays too much to what the audience, what the crowd, what other people are saying, rather than actually just going with his gut and going with the talent. And which is why I also feel like sometimes when it comes to picking his teams, like I said, he picks favourites. He goes for who he likes at that moment in time or who he's friends. I don't want to say friends with, but in my opinion, I think he goes for people who he likes more than people who are talented and have shown a good game throughout a season. So yeah, that's how I feel anyway. A lot of people might feel differently. You feel differently, clearly, but I don't feel like he always goes by talent. I feel sometimes I feel like the season, for example, we're out of season at the moment. So football season is over. Premier League is over. Everyone's on holiday or focusing on Euros at this moment in time. But during the Premier League season, he doesn't pick people who have necessarily played well during the Premier League season. He just picks whoever he likes.
I'm not sure I support that because I think just because you didn't play amazingly, you have to, as a manager,
It's your job to play amazingly. Sorry, can you play?
Holistic team, you might not have played and scored all the goals, but you might have been really good at setup. You might have been really good at this. You might have been really good at that. And I think people kind of judge and say, oh, that person didn't perform amazingly. But hold on, maybe in practice they did well. Maybe they showed up on time. Hold on. Maybe they set up some goals. Maybe they were really good at running. And actually, hold on, a holistic team is not about everybody who played well. Just because you all played well doesn't mean you can play together in harmony and effectively.
Do you know what? One thing I respect about Gary Lineker is he has been, as a pundit, he's been very consistent. Him and Alan Shearer, they're my two favourites. Roy Keane is one of my top favourite pundits. And Ian Wright. Sorry, I could go on. But they have all been consistent in actually the team aren't playing very well. The team aren't gelling. And this is what I mean about him playing favourites or him playing him being a pick-me. Let me finish. Because when you're playing and when I say you're playing favourites, I mean that means that actually if the team isn't playing well, then you need to change the formation of the team. He still goes with the same formation and then looks back in hindsight and then does the whole, oh, actually maybe, but actually you could have made changes during the game. You could have.
Everyone's like, oh, just do what we're asking you. Do what everyone's saying. As a manager, one of the hardest things to do is say, this, I am following a process. I am not going to listen to the crowd. And just because the crowd are throwing cups at me and my family, I am not going to bow down to what they say. But hold on. Yes, he wasn't playing well. Like, everyone's like, get him off. If that's not my strategy. Do I need to take him off now? What everybody was saying about the England team is their defence is really, really good. They have conceded few goals, but they've not been. I don't know. Maybe his next process is going to be now we are attacking. Now that's our next strategy. Maybe his original strategy is just get us through. We don't have to. Football doesn't always have to be. Oh, this is brilliant. Hold on. Let's just play football that gets us through. So I think we need to respect some of those decisions. And going to Alan Shearer, your buddy, he says the stats are pretty damning in England in terms of England taking chances. When you look at the talent we have got in forward position, which I thought was good, and their strengths, actually it hasn't fired out yet. So he's like, it's not fired at all. It's not pulling the punches all the time. You just need to get through.
You on the. Do you know what? I'd have more faith if I knew that this is just how England play, and then they fire up later. I just don't know. But let's see. Last year, 2 years ago, whenever the Euros was last, they got through to the final. They got through to the finals actually, and lost on penalties. So let's see. England have never won a Euros, and obviously they've only won one World Cup, which was in 1966. So for me, the stats don't lie. Gareth Southgate, I feel like he's still one of the most consistent and I don't know. I feel like he's been one of the managers that has gotten England the furthest, and he's done that purely based on his faith and consistency with the team, and I respect that. And I think there's a lot of people calling for his head for him to get chopped. I don't agree with that. I don't think he should get sacked. I feel like he's done the best. He's been one of the best England managers that we've ever had. But I do think there is something about actually picking certain players and then still not playing them, and they're just sitting on the bench, but not being willing to switch up the game a little bit more. But we were in the group stages at the time, so like you said, we're in the final 16. Let's see what happens in the knockouts now, and maybe things will change now that we're no longer in the group stages. Let's see.
And we're getting through. Why do things have to change? Because my thing is, okay, they're a bit lackluster, but we don't always have to be firing on all cylinders. As long as we get through, maybe slow and steady wins the race.
They would have had their phonics exam at the beginning of June, actually. So in June, they would have had their phonics exam. So the phonics, well, I say exam, but I guess it's a test just to see where they are in terms of their reading and grasping of the phonics and everything else. So Malachi, obviously he's year one. He's still 5, turned 6 in August. So he's one of the youngest in his year. So he had his phonics test. But what I noticed is that the school doesn't necessarily advertise it or tell you that it's coming up. It's only if you're a curious parent, or it's only if you send your child to certain tutoring places and things like that, that you might realize that it's happening. So yeah, so it was one of those things that when I had his our parent teacher meeting at school, and then I just happened to ask the teacher, oh, do they have any kind of tests coming up this year? And then she mentioned it. So I was just like, oh, okay. Maybe I'm just naive. But yeah, that's how I found out about it. So then I was very much, okay, we need to prepare you for this. And obviously he attends Explore Learning, which is like an online tutoring thing that he does. He goes to a centre once a week, and they do a lot of work around reading, phonics, and maths. And we've really loved it. It's, once again, not an advert. It's just something that we found and we pay for. And he goes along just to kind of help him along just a bit more extra. And so luckily they were able to say, oh yeah, we can prepare him for it. And they kind of made him do a lot more phonics during the hour that he's there. And they adjusted the time of around what he does. So we were able to do a bit more phonics. And also we did more reading. We do reading every night anyway. So yeah, so I was just kind of preparing for that. So just for anyone who has a child who is in reception, coming into year one next year, just a kind of heads up that they do have a phonics test in June. So what happens is that there's a pass or fail. And I don't want to say fail because that's not the term, but it's either a pass or you don't pass type of thing. And you have a specific number. So it's I believe it's out of 40 that they test you on. But what happens is each year they don't give the school the actual the pass rate. So the school won't know what the pass rate is until the end of, I believe, until around July time. So once all the tests have been done in June, then the school find out what the pass rate is. So the school will submit the tests, and then they will find out what the pass rate is, and then we as parents will then find out around July time, the end of term, whether our child has passed it or whether they will get a chance to have to retake it, and then they retake it in year two instead.
The whole point of this exam, in quotation marks, is they're putting them in sets now. So I'm guessing. Or is it not? Or is it just to assess their progress? Because my understanding is they're going to do it in year one. They'll do it again in year two, and they get a right?
No, so they do it in. So if they pass it in year one, they don't have to be retested. So if you don't pass it, then you will then have to redo it in year two. But no, so they've not necessarily put them in sets in the school. No, so it informs what level of support. So they don't use sets in school. Well, in his school anyway, they don't use sets. So it ultimately just informs how much support or extra support you might need in order to help with your reading or whatever it is the exam is at that moment in time. So yeah, in our money, it's to put you in a set of whether you're okay. Sorry.
Mine still do sets.
Pardon?
Oh, okay.
Every school is different. I think every school is different. What I'm saying is our school, my school, Malachi School, doesn't do sets. So what they've done it is in terms of, do you need extra help with your reading or do you not? And I think that's what that's what the whole phonics test does. So it kind of outlines whether you will need extra support, and what extra support they can put in place for you, or whether you're doing okay. So if you pass, then you will just resit it in year two, and they'll kind of prepare you for it in year two instead. If you do pass it, then you don't have to redo it again. That's it.
They do it earlier so that they can plan them throughout the year, and then they start them in reception into their groups. But my friend was saying that they can bounce between groups. So if they are showing that they are getting all their work done and they're being challenged and pushed, then they will then move them up a set or move them down a set if they feel like actually it's overwhelming. And I think what my friend was saying about her child, I'm not going to say boy or girl, but what they were saying about her child is that it's not about bringing you down a set because you're not good enough. It's about bringing you down a set in order to make learning enjoyable if it's feeling too much pressure for the child. So sometimes people feel like, oh, I've gone down a set, that's, my child isn't doing well. That's not the case. They need just a bit of a breather. Maybe the pace is a little bit too much. Maybe they just need time, a little bit more time to understand things before they are moved up or down another set. And I think parents just need to be kind to themselves as well as their children in regards to these exams. I think that's the one thing I would say. Just being kind to yourself and kind to your child. It's not the end of the world. It's not the beginning of the world. It is a process. And every child has to go through it. And it's just making sure that you are, giving your child that confidence that it's going to be okay, actually. And this is just part of life. And just take it as it comes, I think.
I think I think that's lovely, but I think it's also been very knowing yourself as well as a parent, and just knowing that actually, yeah, you might feel a bit frustrated or annoyed or disappointed or question, like, why isn't my child, and compare your child with other people, because I feel like we all naturally do it. So I think there will be, realistically, well, for me, let me speak for myself anyway. And obviously I feel like Malachi is very confident, and we won't find out how he's done until July anyway. And the teacher was very confident in that, oh yeah, he'll be fine, it's not going to be a problem. But I do think that if he doesn't do well, then I think I would be like, oh no, what's wrong? And other people have passed it, and why have they passed it? And what do I need to do to make it better? And what's going on for that? So I feel like that is going to naturally happen, because you do naturally compare and you naturally question what's happening, and that's okay. But I agree. But then I feel like that's when what you said kicks into play, which is actually, yeah, your child might just need a bit more time, or just having that reflection of, actually, yeah, my child just needs a bit more assistance, and whatever that looks like for you. So I think there's nothing wrong if your first response is like,
Okay,
what the hell? For yourself, Margaret. Speak for yourself from your perspective. I know you. No.
Aunties out there who are going to be, why are they so hard? Why are they tiger mums? Why are they? I think it's really important. Tiger mum is someone who's just like, they have to be reading, writing, phonics. They have to play 7 instruments. They have to be the leader of the cheerleader team. Not just that, they have to be the head. I think after talking to a mum who's been through it, and her child is actually on the whole, I think there's something for me, as a mum, something quite important for me to know, that your child, the reasons why your child may be in a particular set. And yes, I agree with you. I will have that WTF moment of, you failed at the age of 4, you failed the exam at the age of 5. Like, yes, fine. I'm going to be that mum. But I also think it's talking to other mums, taking a perspective, and actually saying, in the grand scheme of things, what is my child good at, and how can I hone in on those skills? And I think maybe as first generation, second generation migrants, you were always taught to be academic, when actually maybe there's a way for us to now rethink and reshape the way we bring up our children. The academic is brilliant. They can never take your grades away from you. But actually, what else is your real core talent that we should develop? So the phonics, as you said, is really important. I agree with you. It is really important. I do think at this age, they should be passing these phonics tests. And not just that, Alice, credit to you that you have put Malachi into Explore Learning. As a result, I've put Exon into I put Xavier into Explore Learning as well. And I've seen her thrive.
I'm also, one second, Effie's calling me. Yes, Ezzy?
Wake up. Stand up.
Stand up?
Yeah.
Why? Do you want me to come?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming. All right, sorry, Margaret, one second. That was Ez that had to come in because I hadn't put Lion King on properly. So he's off nursery at the moment because he's come down with chicken pox. So yeah, so we're in the season of chicken pox at the moment. First child in the house to get it. And it's been a journey. We're on day 3 at the moment. Oatmeal bath, and what else have we done? We've done oatmeal bath. We've done. I've used a lot of Vaseline and a lot of calamine lotion on him, and that seems to be doing the trick. But it's just so sad to watch them when they're itchy and scratchy and miserable and crying and stuff. So yeah, so Malachi somehow hasn't caught it, so Malachi's fine. I was hoping that he'd get it at the same time, but clearly God said no. So I'm in for this another 2 times at some point in this lifetime. But yeah, and he missed sports day today. Today was his sports day. Last time at the nursery, and
Not really. She surprised me. All I can say is I went in the school and my money was not on Xavier. No disrespect to my own daughter, but my money was not on her to win. But that's okay. She's got other talents. Not everyone's a runner. Only for Xavier to smash her races and come first. Couldn't believe it. 400 meters, literally girl in the lead the whole entire way. And then she closed the gap a bit and then she saw them coming and she just kept going. She won her 400 meters. Then her 100 meters, I know, tell me about it. 100 meters. I was like, oh, okay. Then she was in the lead, 100 meters. And then she was, I think, looking around or something. And then there was like a pothole, honestly. But then there was a pothole in the grass and literally you could see her step into this gap and fall down. But I was like, oh no, only for her to get up and keep going. I was more proud of her for getting up and continuing the race and not crying than I was at the fact that she'd won her other races. That showed resilience, grit, her maturity at the age of 4, because you know what Xavier's like.
yeah, that is Xavier. I was expecting it to be a story of tears and snot, but
Tears and snot. But this time, no. She actually held it down, got up and continued and was still positive. And in her third race, which was the obstacle race, she won that as well. I was so proud of her. I was the proudest mum ever. And all the parents were like, oh my gosh, well done, Xavier. And I was looking at them like, I can't believe she won it. But yeah, really good. And both there to witness it, which is good.
so proud of her. So proud of her. I love sports day. I used to love sports day in school as well. I was always on the last leg of the 100 meters, and of the 100 meters relay, I was always the last runner. And I always won the 100 meters girls. I just loved sports
You were
day.
always talented on the running. So.
Yeah, and I hope the boys. Do you know what? I hope all 3 of the kids have some type of sporting bone in them. It doesn't have to be running or football or whatever. Just some type of kind of sport, because it just overall it rounds you up, doesn't it? It just gives you that. It rounds you as an adult. So, and it keeps you fit and it gives you discipline as well. Because Malachi does gymnastics during the week, and he absolutely loves it. And he's about to have his competition actually in July. First competition that he's gonna do, so that'll be interesting. And Xavier's now doing
she's just started kickboxing. We tried gymnastics. All my girl wanted to do was go out and fire escape. So we were like,
it's fine. And I think sometimes you have to dot around and try different things before you find their thing. So yeah, and it seems like kickboxing might actually just be her thing as well, because she seems to be doing really well.
To go into kickboxing, and I've started saying to Delano, look, on a Saturday morning, just do a little jabs and punches with her. She knows her stances. She's really good. She knows a jab, she knows a punch, she knows a cross, she knows a kick. Honestly, athletically, she is blowing my mind at the moment, like explosions, turning 5. Like, I feel like I'm so impressed. So proud mum, proud mum.